Chapter 24. School was a little better now that I was in the 5th grade. The elementary school topped out at the 5th grade, so everyone in my class was the oldest in the school. The kids seemed to get along better with me, and the teachers seemed nicer. Daddy had planted a pumpkin patch in gourds, and everything was ready to be picked. He talked to my teacher and told her that everybody in my class could come out to our ranch the next Saturday, and he'd give their family a pumpkin. On the appointed Saturday, several of the kids and their families came to pick out a pumpkin. My dog and I had work to do, and we were on the back 40. It was just as well. I didn't want to see those kids anyway. I sat down for a break while Yellow chased rabbits. A fireman appeared, wearing all of his gear and holding a fire extinguisher. "Hi," I said to him, as if it were natural for a fireman to walk out of thin air. "Young lady, do you know how to use a fire extinguisher?" he asked. "No," I replied. I stood up because he was just too tall to be looking up from a sitting position. He proceeded to show me what to do. He had me try it, and I thought it was pretty cool. "Do you know where the fire extinguisher is at school?" he wanted to know. "No," I replied. "Look for it and remember where it's at," he told me. Then he walked off, disappearing into the air. I suppose the commercial was over, and I went back to doing my chores. Later, I practiced the song that my dad wanted me to practice on guitar. Then I practiced my violin lessons. Mrs. Lawrence, who was my 5th grade teacher, had wanted us to read a chapter on Christopher Columbus as our assignment. I was sitting in class listening to her talk about history. I guessed that I was the only one who had read the chapter because nobody was answering her questions except for me. The other kids were giving me dirty looks. "I need for someone else to raise their hand," she replied to the class as I was ready to answer yet another question of hers. She was getting mad, and she had us turn to a certain page in the book. I heard someone gasp, and so I looked towards the back of the room where the gasp had come from. Jeremy, a stupid and mean kid, had done a very stupid thing. He'd lit his history book on fire with a lighter. I jumped up, opened the door to our classroom, and ran for the fire extinguisher. It took a second or two to get it off the wall. Kids were screaming and running past me by then. I turned and tried to run against them back to the room. I managed to get through the door and saw Mrs. Lawrence standing there in shock, looking at the flaming history book that was awfully close to the bookcase. "I got this. Go round up the kids, Miss Lawrence," I advised her in a calm voice as I pulled the pin on the fire extinguisher and started from the bottom of the flame, spraying the fire. The flame suddenly darted to some papers that were in the bookcase, and they caught fire. "Surprise!" "Oh my God," I heard her say, but I was too busy putting out the fire to see if she had taken my advice. At first, I didn't think the fire was going to be extinguished. The cylinder was almost empty when the fire finally died out. One of the male teachers was running up to me at that point, and he made sure the fire was out. "That was quick thinking, kid," he told me. His energy was extremely agitated, and he looked shaky. "It's okay, the fire is out. We're all safe," I assured him, as I touched his arm to calm him down. "Yeah, we're fine," he agreed as he sat down at one of the desks. I heard the sirens then. The sheriff and a fire truck had arrived. The kids in Ms. Lawrence's class were herded into another classroom. Jeremy, Ms. Lawrence, and I were taken into the principal's office to discuss what had happened. "She did it," Jeremy told them as he pointed at me. "She torched the book." "I was sitting up front. How could I have done it?" "I don't even have matches," I told him. I couldn't believe he had the nerve to accuse me of setting a fire. Hell, if I wanted to set one, I would have gone much bigger. I also would have admitted it. I noticed that the principal and Miss Lawrence were looking at me. "I didn't do it," I remarked as I scrunched up my face thinking about it. They called my dad, and he came down to the school. He was angry, and he didn't even know if I was guilty. They let him speak to me alone, so we walked outside. "What happened?" he asked me. So I told him. "Why do they think you set the fire?" he wanted to know. "Because Jeremy is the son of the deputy, and he told them that I did it." Daddy gave me a hard look. "I didn't do it, Dad. If I'd wanted to set a fire, I would have gone way bigger."
I probably would have gotten some fireworks too, and I would have been bragging about it afterwards. People would have just laughed if I'd set a piddly little fire like Jeremy did. I don't want that kind of reputation. I'd want to be known as the one who'd burned the whole damn town down. I saw my dad roll his eyes in disbelief at what I'd said. You'd think he would have been used to me by now. It's not like you haven't thought the same thing before, I informed him, although I was just talking shit. He shook his head and sighed. While Daddy talked behind closed doors to the principal and Miss Lawrence, Jeremy and I were made to sit in the main part of the office. Jeremy was sitting there imagining that he was going to get away with something. He was talking nasty to me. If you want to be punched, just go right ahead and talk bad about me, I told him. I didn't set the fire, but I will punch the shit out of you. Luckily for him, the adults opened the door and came out. I was surprised to find out that I would be going home. Daddy quizzed me on the drive home on how I had known to get the fire extinguisher. I remembered what Stupid Boy had told me about keeping my knowing secret. I saw a guy on TV use a fire extinguisher not long ago, I lied to him. You were really brave, he told me. He took me to my favorite pizza place for supper because I was such a hero. Yeah, I felt sad that I'd had to lie. About burning the town up, he started as he slid another slice of pizza on his plate. You'd never do that, would you? Hell, I didn't know. Maybe there'd be a reason to one day. How was I supposed to know? I scrunched my face up as I chewed. I doubt it, I replied as I looked over at him. Well, let's just make sure not to, okay? I shrugged my shoulders. Aw, you're no fun, Dad. Just keep in mind that I'm not bailing you out of jail. We smiled at that. When I went back to school the next day, I found that Jeremy had been suspended for 3 days because Miss Lawrence had confirmed that I was sitting towards the front of the class and couldn't have started the fire.